It's time for one season with, and this time you guys have got me going to Bonnie, Scotland with Motherwell. Let's do it. Welcome back, crew. How's it going? Now, we've got Motherwell. As the poll dictates, I do what you tell me to. The choices were Bilbao, Motherwell, Atalanta. I can't remember the other one, but Motherwell took it just over Athletic Bilbao. And it's an interesting challenge, this one. Obviously, the main big challenge is Celtic and Rangers. Can we somehow overthrow them? I'd be amazed if we do, but we're going to try our best. I've had a little look. We've got zero transfer budget, but we're kind of used to that, aren't we? We're kind of used to that. So the goal is to get as high up as we can and potentially break that old firm. Let's try. Right then, here we go. So we're in at Motherwell. The media prediction is actually 7th, so just below mid-table, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, the SPL splits into 2, so we need to be in that top tier to do some damage this season. We've got no money. It's going to be a toughie. But you know what? I have managed in Scotland for an absolute age. I'm really looking forward to this one. Here we are on the squad screen, and this is where we basically dictate how we're going to play this season. I've said I've got no transfer budget. I do have a slight wage budget, so we can make a move in the transfer market. And looking at it, what strikes me initially is I'm decent for centre-backs. Look at that. There's a big clutch of centre-backs and wing-backs. So we might lead us to play 3 at the back, 5 at the back. Lots of central midfielders. And we've got a bit of a dearth of out-and-out strikers. We've got a lot of players down here who like to play withdrawn either side. But it's out-and-out strikers. I'm not seeing it. As I've looked a bit closer, some of the boys aren't amazing. The thing with the SPL is it's a bit of a hybrid in standard of England in Leagues 1, 2, the Championship. But then you've got Celtic and Rangers who've got players like Ramsey, Morelos, these type of players that are that step above. So it's a proper challenge if you're thinking of trying to overthrow them in Season 1. As I look around the squad, I'm looking for standout players. We've got Liam Shaw here, who is on loan from Celtic. You can see he's decent, but in that attribute range, 11, 12, 13, 14. For me, that's more on the League 1, League 2 kind of standard. So that looks to be the sort of area, as we look at Beavis Mugabe here, a little bit better. He's got some good physical attributes. So, as I say, it's a bit of a hybrid of Championship to League 2 kind of level, and that's the sort of players we're working with. Indeed, as we look closer here, looking down, it's quite a big-sized squad. But as I said earlier, this clutch of players there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players capable of playing centre-back, and then you've got, a bit further down, you've got your wing-backs. It looks like we're going to go that sort of direction. As I say, my big worry is up front. We may have a derby situation here, because if you look down here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players attacking-wise who, yes, they can play up front, but it's not their main focus. You've got players like Kevin Van Veen here. Definitely not an out-and-out striker who's finishing composure, tell you that much. Jordan Roberts, similar story. They all look like attacking wide men. So, rather than shoehorn things, that's probably the way we're going to go. This is always the key part taking on a new team, especially when you've got no transfer budget, is to find the areas you're strongest at. Now, looking at the squad, it looks to me we're strongest down the spine of the team, other than, annoyingly, the strikers. So I've got centre-backs by the bucket load. I've got some really good central midfielders who are going to have to do the most of the bombing on the attacking work. Most of my goals, I think, are going to have to come from central midfield here, because my strikers, they all want to drop off and fly around everywhere. So, let's do that. These lads here, so we've got Liam Shaw, who is on loan from Celtic, obviously got pedigree. Mark O'Hara, another good player. Basically, he can play anywhere, Mark O'Hara, here he is. He can play anywhere across, I mean, look at that. Where do you play? Yes, he is a Swiss Army knife. He will play anywhere. Attributes all over the board, and if we get a penalty, we're laughing. But a 6'4" central midfielder kind of appeals for them late breaking runs into midfield and get some wing backs pinging some crosses in. That could be an option. So tactically, I do have some thoughts, and it is going to be a little bit similar to the derby tactic, but also not similar, if that makes sense. So we're going to create it from scratch. I'm going to create my own style, and I definitely want to play 3 at the back with wing backs, but it's going to be a bit different up top there. So I'm going to go my 5 defender formations, just throw out a template for me. This one will do. It's not going to be that, but we'll use that as a template. Now remember, my strength is in these areas here, so the 3 centre-backs and the midfield area as well. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to have at least 3 central midfielders. I'm definitely going to have 3 centre-backs. It's just depending what I want to do with the wingers, the wing-backs. Do I want them up there, going really aggressive? But that's going to leave us some gaps. And in today's day and age where you're constantly coming up against 4-3-3 and 4-2-3-1 with players in these areas, that's probably going to be a bit too risky. So then the decision's going to be whether we go wing-backs at a higher start point, or we have them dropping back. We're going to go play and squash the play and make it a bit more intensive. So looking at my squad, I have a really good left wing back on attack. The right wing back not so good. Now I do want them to remain in kind of line. So initially I'm going to go like this. I am going to go like this. Now we do need an attacking threat. That sort of midfield setup there, we won't get anything from it. Now a great role this season, and I'm sure a lot of you have used it, is the central midfielder on attack. So we are relying on the central midfield for goals. So I'm not going to have 1 but 2 in those central areas. It's just where they get the bullets from. Now I've got a forward here, but quite honestly, looking at the strikers, I don't think we've got the striker for this position. So this is the key position. What are we going to do with it? Now I've had a look at the squad, I've built it, I've built the tactic, and it's an interesting looking thing. Welcome to Is Your Mother Well? Now I told you it was interesting. Is it going to work? I'm not so sure, but all I do know is I have got the players that will fit it. Now it's just whether the system will then flow and work. It's going to be interesting to find out. I think I mentioned in the last video, I'm dying to use this wide target man role, and we're going to use it. We've got the player for it, I think. It's this man, Jordan Roberts. Now if I click on him here, you can see he wants to play on the other side, but I don't care about that. His left foot is very strong, but as a wide target forward on this side, he's not going to need his right foot to break down the side. He's going to hold the ball up and midfield runners are going to come past him. That's the idea. He's got stamina, he's got strength. I may need another option in there just to give me another option, but at the minute Jordan Roberts is kind of the player I'm looking at in that zone. The inside forward is going to be another major threat as well. He's going to break in there, especially because I've got a good wing back on his side. He can spend more time in this sort of area. So these two positions are sorted like magic in the goal. We've got Kevin Van Veen. He's going to stay there. He wants to start there. He's inside forward there. He's not the best finisher, but we've got to deal with what we've got. I mean, last season he was at Scunthorpe, so that, like I was saying before, shows the levels we're at. But behind him, I do have a bit of hope in Jake Carroll. There he is, formerly of Cambridge. He's been at Motherwell a little while, but you can see he can play a lot of positions. He's a really good all-round left wing back. I'm excited about him. I think he'll get up and down that touchline pretty well. The key roles of the midfield three. So it is aggressive. It is aggressive. They're all going to be bombing forward, which you may think will leave a gap in behind, but that's why I've got my central defender there as a stopper. He's going to pop into that area there more often than not and sit kind of like that. In theory, if it doesn't work, we might even move him up a little bit, but it doesn't look right to me. So we're going to have him there like that as a stopper, breaking the attacks, inside forward bombing in. So this guy's the key point. He's going to hold the ball up for the wing back to get near him, the central midfielder on attack to get past him. Let's see. We're going to have a backup formation, of course we are. And it's going to be this one. We're going to have an out-and-out forward as a target forward. We're still going to use these two positions here, and we're still going to try and use the central midfielder on attack. That's going to be the backup one if this funky one doesn't work. Now, there is a key point, though. We don't have a target forward, and if Roberts gets injured, we need cover there. So with our wage budget, we're going to have to go in the transfer market and find ourselves a big, tall, athletic target forward who can also play out wide. Should be easy, right? But before we get to that, a little reminder of the main formation we're going with. There it is. So we're going to ask Slattery or whoever plays advanced playmaker to pop in these areas. Once he gets there, I want him to feed the balls to both central midfielders on attack, your inside forward. I've got all of the wing backs and things like that aiming for the far post. You can just about see it there. So they're going to aim for the target forward or wide target man. And that's what we're going to go with. Now, the team instructions down the side, we're going to play it out the defence. The crosses are going to be low because there's no one in there. So we need to pull it back for players on rushing in. Focus and play through the middle because that is our strength. The underlap from the right. So when he gets the ball there, he's going to play it in towards short. In theory, counter and counter press, because remember what I said, when you don't play a striker, your defensive line completely changes, as we'll show you right here. So that's a much higher line of engagement there. Rather than being by the goal mouth, which it usually is, it's right on the edge of the 18-yard area. So that is our zone to win the ball back. So we need to press and press a lot. Transfers. So basically, we've got 5,000 to get a transfer in. You can see some players have thrown up there. But I can tell you right now that Branislav Ivanovic, who is wanted by every team in America, will not be coming up to Motherwell for £5 a week, which is what we've got to play with. It probably isn't even that. It's probably about 3,000-4,000. So I need to find a striker who is also capable of playing wide. So we're going to go attribute searching. Okay, so we're into player search. We'll go to a new search and I need a forward. Now I'm just going to do the bare minimum of attributes because remember, we're looking at a player who's kind of the standard between League 2 and the Championship in England, Serie B, at a push in Italy, that sort of vibe. So attribute wise, I'm going basic. I know I need jumping reach, I know I need heading, and I need strength. Those three things would be ideal. We'll press OK and we'll see what comes up. Not a great lot, so we're going to have to doctor that, knock it down a bit. And don't forget, we've got no money. So let's just break that from the get-go, go to unattached, and you can see we've got 0. So maybe we're already being a bit ambitious. So I've took one off, I took strength off, and we've got a player who's popped up. And it is a player I recognise, Yaya Sanogo, formerly of Arsenal. There he is. His strength is still high at 14. Attributes are good, heading to 15, jumping reach 17, good balance, massive bonus incoming. He can play either side here as the wide target forward. He's not going to be a world beater. I think his time is pretty much up on that. If you look at his history, Auxerre to Arsenal there, and he hasn't really done much, has he? He hasn't really done much. He spent some time at Toulouse where he was okay, 6 goals here and there, 3 goals. Last season on loan at Huddersfield, Coffee's about. No goals there, but for us, I think he'll be a decent little player. So I'm going to make a move now for Yaya, and he could be our one and only signing. I'm ecstatic to tell you that the start of the season has gone amazingly well. It's gone really good. We've got Sanogo in. In fact, let's go and have a look. So remember, we were predicted to finish mid-table but lower, so 7th, 8th. We built that tactic, and to my shock, it's done really well. Here's the schedule. Look at this. I mean, I watched this 14-0er. I was like, here we go, but Darren Vale are basically guys that were basically plucked from the local chip shop, out the boozer. They played us. It was 14-0. But as the pre-season went on and the Premier Sports Cup started in mid-July, I mean, that is when most footballers are on the beach, they were going well. 3-0, 5-0. Our only defeat to Morton, fired back with some tweaks to the tactic against Edinburgh. The SPL started, Hibs, St Johnstone. We lost in the Premier Sports Cup to Rangers, which is our biggest test yet, but it's 3-3 and on penalties, so no disgrace there at all. Livingston, Dundee, biggest game yet, probably against Aberdeen. Did he say Derby? Abu Dhabi. 2-1. And we're flying. Here's the league table. Unbelievably, we've won 5 out of 5. Now remember what tactic we're using. We are using this, is your Motherwell. And I wanted goals from the central midfielders, O'Hara and Shaw. Check this out. So O'Hara, early season, 5 goals in 4 in the SPL, 4 in 5 in the Cup, 9 in 9 so far. It's working perfectly. On the other side, Shaw doing the same kind of role. 9 goals in 6 games. Ridiculous. The advanced playmaker's been Slattery, pulling a few strings. He scored 3 goals himself. Sanogo there, playing as a wide target boy. 2 in 6, 2 assists, not bad at all. And Van Veen, the inside forward boy, 2 and 3. So they're doing well. The midfield 3, like we thought, are providing all the goals. Carroll at left wing back, 2 assists. Going worryingly well, this. The big test is next. And that's why I've come back for this one, early season. The big test now is Rangers away. It doesn't get any tougher, right? Let's see how they're going to shape up against Rangers away from home. So good to go. I should have mentioned, by the way, we've got ourselves a pretty good keeper in Liam Kelly. He's 25 years old. He's got 3 caps for Scotland. He's a really good all-round keeper with good distribution. So that really helps us. The only issue we've got for today's match is the wing-back. So O'Donnell's going to have to take a breather. And Grimshaw comes in. Grimshaw, who used to play for Preston and Man United. It's a proper Lancashire name, that, by the way, Grimshaw. He comes in at right wing-back, and we're good to go. We're attacking mentality because when you're playing this sort of line, you kind of need to be. Opposition-wise, Rangers, knowing Rangers like I do, a lot of the players are going to come from Tavernier and Kent. You've got Hadji, Morelos, Aaron Ramsey. This is a strong team. So like I do in every game when I play through, I need to have a real look at these opposition instructions. Now, Tavernier is going to be bombing down this right-hand side, so I want him to come inside, get him off that right foot. On the other side, they've got someone called Calvin Bassey. I'm not 100% familiar with him, but looking at him, he looks a really good, strong player. 6'1" at left wing back, so he might be there to counter-attack our wide target man. That's a really interesting move by Rangers. And we're off. We're off against Rangers. Obviously, I'd take a draw. It's really interesting to see where this is going to keep us in the league. You can see early days, it's all Rangers. But we do have a free kick, which we need to take a more advantage of. But they're going to clear it with Hadji. Counter-attack looks dangerous. It's Morelos. Grimshaw with a great tackle, though. Look at that from the big man. And the defenders... Oh, it's an awful, awful mistake. It comes back to Morelos, and Rangers put it in. I mean, I was about to praise the centre-backs, but what an error. This looks like it could be a long day. It's 10 minutes in and Rangers have got the ball again. Here's Bassey to Ramsey, back to Davis. They are pinging it around all over the place and we're chasing shadows at the minute. But as long as they don't come too far, we just need them to force them out wide. I've got 3 centre-backs there who should be able to deal with the threat. McGregor plays it long and that's what we want. We want them to play it long because I've got some decent size in this team. There it goes again, and there he wins it ahead of Morelos, but Ramsey gets the second ball, which is a bit of a killer. He charges down to Morelos again, who is causing problems. McGinley gets a cross, and the refs give a penalty. Oh, this is going to be a long one, crew. Only 12 minutes gone. Tavernier steps up, and it is 2-0. Our first big test this season. This just shows how tough it's going to be to displace the old firm. And the final whistle goes, and we got a bit of a scene too there. 5-1. Did we get too cocky? 5 wins out of 5 before that. We go to Rangers and get absolutely demolished. It's very much like SPL in real life, that, isn't it? But what it does do is, thinking of the positives, that'll stop me doing that again away from home. So I'll have to come up with a plan when we go to Rangers again and to Celtic. I'm licking my wounds. That was rough. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go away. I'm going to play to probably January. And then we'll see where we're at. When we come back in January, I'd expect that tactic to evolve somewhat. Especially if we keep getting results like that against Rangers. But remember, before that, we had won 5 in a row. Drawing against Rangers at home in the Cup. So it's probably just a case of 2 attacking away from home at the big boys. So far, so good. We sit second until Celtic play their game in hand. But at the minute, it's going okay. Let's get to January. It's that time again. We're into January. We're going to have to make a couple of moves, I think, because the team are getting a bit tired. But so far, it's been pretty decent, you know. It is where we stand. We're sitting in 4th position, so Hearts are just above us in 46, so they're currently the best of the rest. But considering we've only brought in 1 player in Yaya Sanogo, I'm quite happy with that. We're pretty decent going forward. We've conceded a few. It's 31-4, 28 against. So, you know, they are areas, but a lot of those away goals have came against. So I hover over the 28. You can see there, we conceded 6 against Rangers and 6 against Celtic in the couple of games against them. So there's 12 of them. So against all the other teams, we're doing pretty well. Those 2 big clubs are causing a problem like we probably expected them to. In fact, if you look, we are doing pretty well. We left you after that Rangers game where we got destroyed 1-5, so obviously we need to make some adaptations. And that hit our form a bit. There was like 5 games where we didn't win, but we did fire back with a decent run there. We did heavy loss away to Aberdeen, but it was a red card as well. But we have fired back pretty decent. Consistently not bad at all. A couple of disappointing results against Ross County, but Celtic beat us again. But when we play all the other teams, we're doing alright. We're still in the Scottish Cup to come. We've got Gretna 2008, what a name that is, a phoenix from the Flames club. But as we go into the second half of the season, I'm pretty confident. There's not a lot of games left before the split, so we need to make a couple of transfers, I think. We've swung a bit. We have gone with this tactic. This is our secondary formation. And it looks butt ugly, isn't it? But I kind of wanted to take this opportunity to try this because I've been looking to use a formation similar to this. So we've got this one, and obviously we've got this one. This one's working really well against teams that are on our level or slightly beneath us. When we need a goal, I've gone to this one. In fact, the last 4 or 5 games we've been using this one as Sanogo as a target forward. He's come to form actually. He's got 6 goals in 20 games, 7 assists. When we play him as a wide target man, he hasn't really enjoyed himself. You'll also notice I've got a wide centre-back on attack with an overlap. I'm kind of taking the opportunity in this save to try some things I haven't tried yet in FM22. So O'Hara, who was the boy who's playing as a central midfielder on attack, who scored all them goals, 12 goals, since moving back there, he's actually done a decent job. You can find him quite often rocking around the inverted wing-back like that. So in play, the Mazzala goes to there. The inverted wing-back cuts in there where the Mazzala was. And the wide centre-back cuts around the inverted wing-back. So it works quite well. And then you've got these 2 bombing forward, supporting Sanogo. Carroll from the other side with Grimshaw trying to tie it all together. In theory, it should work. Better players, I'd be really interested to see how this formation works with better players, and I might test it. Now, like I said, transfer-wise, we only brought in Sonogo down the bottom there. That's our only transfer, free transfer. If we look at our scouting budget, we've got a transfer budget of 71,000. We've got no wage budget. So what I'm looking for is some free loans, basically. I'm going to go to some big boys, potentially down in the Premier League, and try and find some backups for the wing backs because they're getting tired, central midfielders, and maybe a striker. So we've managed to make 2 signings that I think are going to really help us in this push towards the end of the season. Let's have a look at them. Both from the Premier League in England, both from under 23 teams. We've got some good deals here. First off, it's a bit of a shocker. Leighton Clarkson is a right baller. He's 20 years old. He's on loan from Liverpool. And the only way I could get him was to have an optional fee. They wanted a mandatory and negotiated optional because we can't afford Jack. So it's optional. We're not going to take it, obviously. What a little player this is. Passing, vision. You can sit there or you can push him a little bit further on. I've got no qualms about using him as central midfielder on attack. We've got all these player traits that are nice. They don't really lend themselves to the central midfielder on attack. So we might drop him into this zone here. That's a nice little signing. The second signing came from Chelsea. And he can play either inverted wing back or midfield. Xavier Simons comes in. He's another one, 18 years old. This one was dirty cheap, £70 a week. That's what we got him for, 70 quid a week. I mean, even I'm on more than that in real life. He can play anywhere, right down the middle. I've got eyes on him to play as an inverted wing back here because he's got 2 good feet. Nice all-round player. Just a bit of backup. Rangers are sniffing around him for the end of the contract, so they'll no doubt be watching. But those are 2 that we've signed. That's probably going to be our business done. So I'm going to play through now, and we'll see where we get to by the end of the season, and if we can somehow get that 3rd place away from Hearts. That's got to be the target, because breaking the old firm, maybe after 3 seasons, but 1, and you guys who voted for it, which we'll show you at the end, I have question marks over you. We are back. It's the end of the season. Well, is it? Is it? We've got 1 game to go, but things have gone pretty damn well. We've changed tactic, and I've got a tactic now that I actually really like, and I'm going to test further after this save. But let's have a look how the league finished. So here we are. We did finish in the top 6 pretty comfortably as well. And we finished the league in 4th. We couldn't quite overthrow Hearts. We had a bit of an indifferent result here and there. But really, really happy with that. 4th position. We won 17. 61 points. Qualifying for the Europa League, I think that is. Or the Europa League. But a stellar season, and we didn't get smashed by anyone else after that big thumping by Rangers. We learnt our lesson. You can see the results go down there. Rangers beat us 2-0, Celtic 3-1, but we did also draw with Rangers and Celtic throughout the season, as I'll show you now. So there you see it. We're pretty consistent right the way through. There's a home draw with Celtic later on in the season. Rangers came, beat us 3-0, but that was completely against the runner player. You can see there. We had a lot of the game there. A lot of the game. So the boys really did start to play well. Into the championship group, the boys bit tiring, but we did grab a 1-1 away draw at Celtic, and it did really well again. We were an XG over 1 away to Celtic, which is pretty damn good. And you can probably see something peeping down the bottom there. Yes, indeed, we've made the Scottish Cup final. But the only bad thing about that is we've got Rangers to play. Now, this is a tactic that's got us there. Now, check out those lines. These boys have made a roller coaster between themselves. They're enjoying playing with each other that much. I can't really say that. They're enjoying being in the same team together that much that the cohesion is all over the place. Looks funky. Remember, we started the season with Is Your Motherwell. I quite enjoyed playing it, but the wide target man, we just could not get it firing. So we flipped it to this one. And I've got all 3 midfielders there, bombing on to various directions. Attack, Mazzala going in there, inverted wing back in there. I experimented with the Registar once we made the signing of Leighton Clarkson. Not sure that's the best role to use. I'm still playing with that a little bit. Should it be a deep line playmaker? Not too sure, but I really enjoyed playing that, and then it really did cause issues for some teams. Now, when we went away to Celtic and Rangers after that 5-1, we flipped it to this, and you can the lines are all over the place. It's like a junction. Did some superb stuff. The question is now, which one of those 2 do we go in with to this Rangers game? Sonogo up front, since we flipped into striker, he's finished the season with 14 goals. He's done really well. Bear in mind that 20 of those games or so are at wide target man. Well happy with Yaya Sonogo. So I think we'll go into this match with version 2. So we'll have 2 defensive midfielders, although the Registar isn't really a defensive midfielder, because when you watch it in game, if the ball's there, if it's there, he's there. He follows the ball. He's literally everywhere. So he's going to sit there. We'll have a ball in midfielder, and we'll concentrate on Tierney and Goss to support Sonogo. If it's not going well, we will flip it back to version 1. 17 minutes gone. It's been alright so far, you know. We've had just as many chances as Rangers. As the ball is cleared, it's Hadji who drops deep to get it. Can the boys win it back high up? Hand a ball to Hollander, to Sands, Aaron Ramsey. They really have got a ridiculously better squad than us. Here's Anand back to Tavernier, who crosses Ryan Kent. And Ryan Kent puts Rangers in the lead. Damn it. We have a corner. It's Goss. Goss takes towards Sanogo. That was the chance. Half-time whistle goes. I'm quite happy with that. We need to be careful with the amount of bookings we've got. We've got 5 bookings. The boys have been chucking it in. But if you look at the stats there, 5 shots but none on target. Rangers with 8 and 4 on target. So we're not getting outplayed. As I look at the heat map, we are pretty deep. So I'm going to push the defensive line up a bit. And there's a gap there in behind the Rangers defence. So maybe if we put the ball into space, get into them gaps, we might have a chance. Early stages, and Rangers are unfortunately on the attack with Felipe Luis. I'd love to know how they've got that guy. Ryan Kent to Hadji, Ramsey. It's lovely play. It's Hadji. It's a big save from Kelly. He's keeping us in it at the minute. We are in the Rangers half, so fingers crossed. Goss finds Carroll, the attacking wing back to McGinley. Here's Clarkson. Finds Grimshaw. Sanogo dropping deep. Shaw. Possible through ball. He's ignored it, but he's got it back. He's in. Big chance for Shaw. It's the post. They're playing some good stuff here, you know. They're playing some good stuff. Here's O'Hara now. Back to Clarkson. Here's Goss. Fancies a shot and it's tipped over by Rocher. Boys are coming again. They are playing so well this half. Here's Goss to McGinley. Here's Clarkson trying to make things tick. Grimshaw to Goss. Sanogo dropping deep. O'Hara. Grimshaw. Simons. Shaw's in again. It's another big chance. It's another save. Hannibal again. We need to get this ball back. It doesn't look like we've got it though. Fashion Junior to Ryan Kent. Awful finish. Super high press from the boys. It's 5 minutes left. We're going to try and win this ball high as it's cleared, but they've managed to clear it out. The Devils. Comes back to Ryan Kent and Felipe Luis, who's playing like a 21-year-old. Gets to the byline, lays it back. Ryan Kent again. I'm a bit worried about this. There's 5 minutes left. My boys are proper knackered now. Back to Kent, to the byline. Felipe Luis. Patience from Rangers. Ramsey back to Louise. It's Ramsey. It's a Rebo hits and it's tipped over by Kelly. I think we need a twist now with 4 minutes to go. There's a highlight. There's the last knockings of the match. Can we somehow get a chance? It's cleared, but it's Rangers who come away with it. I think we're going to be disappointed. It's a top effort. Only 1-0 to Rangers. But wait, we have won it back with Goss. Here's Van Veen who just came on. It's Carroll. Will we get one more chance? It's Carroll down the left. He crosses. Felipe Luis clears. Musa Wig there, one of the signings by Rangers. They hammer it clear. It's going to come back at them. The boys are going for it. It's McGinley. Here's Clarkson. Sadly, it goes out of play. And I think that's it. Damn it. So close to my boys. Final against Rangers. Pushed them all the way. So another one season with in the books, this time with Motherwell. I really enjoyed that season. A brand new tactic has been born. It does need a few tweaks here and there. I'm thinking about that defensive midfield position. Is Register the right one? With the right player, it might well be. So I'm going to go away and do a few tests on that now. But 4th place and the cup final in one season with Motherwell, it's not bad, is it? And before I forget, the poll where we had 210 votes, because I only put it out less than a day ago. The most popular was mid-table at 39%. So we've beat that. Top 6 was 25%. And challenged the old firm for top 3 was 15%. So we finished in between that. 8% of you say win the SPL. You boys need checked by your doctor. Book yourselves in tomorrow. I'll see you next time.